February's plan with me is about to go down, which is extra exciting for yours truly because it is my birthday month. I turned 24 on February 8th, and I'm mildly crisising about it because I think it's really hitting me that yes, you are in your mid-20s, so hello. Before diving into things, I do want to quickly note that this video is sponsored by Squarespace, and I am so thrilled to be partnering with Squarespace again this year. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform for building the most beautiful, aesthetically pleasing websites. More on them later. I'm not sure if it's because it's my birthday month or the fact that we just started a new year, but February is always a month I use as an opportunity to really dial in on self-care and self-love, and this year is no exception. So if you're wanting to give yourself a little extra care and warmth this month, then I think you're gonna get a lot out of this month's spreads. As a side note, I did design a PDF freebie that is related to one of this month's spreads, so there's a link in the description box that you can click, enter your email, and it will be sent directly to your inbox. Let's get planning. I had talked about in my latest stationery haul that I wanted to challenge myself in 2021 to play around with color more. So for February spreads, I really embraced letting loose a bit. I tend to pull in inspiration from my environment, and when I took a look at my vision door in my office, I was filled with inspiration from this image you're seeing me paste in, both in terms of its colors and its shapes. It's grand but still simple. I just really love it for that, and it was a great launching off point for the other spreads. I then went in with my Micron in size 08 to make February's mini calendar, and as always, all of the products you're seeing me use in today's video can be found linked below. Anytime I'm using a Micron pen in this video, I'm typically outlining things in size 08 because it provides such a nice bold black, and more of the detailed additions are done with the size 05. I really like this pairing, and it truly amazes me how such a small change like pen size can help make a spread more balanced. Now you're seeing me use my Tombow dual brush pens and Crayola Super Tips to emulate the curves from the image on the left to add some of that same sparkle to the right pages. Creating spreads is always a calming experience for me. It's truly something I get lost in while listening to some tunes, but coloring in these globs, that's the only way I can describe them as globs, was so fun and made me feel like a kid coloring in a coloring book. After adding the color, I used my Muji pen in 0.5 to follow the lines of the curves with February 2021 text. And I did that same technique on the left page by writing out a poem that I had on my vision door for a while. And I think one that I even included in a spread once before that says, "Sweetheart, marry your goals, remain committed to your success, be loyal to your dreams. It's okay to choose yourself," by R.H. Sin. And it felt like a fitting poem for February's self-care theme. February tradition in my bullet journal is a 28 days of self-love challenge, which is where I create a spot for me to write something down in my journal every day in February that I love about myself. This can be something about my physical body, my personality, my brain, etc. I just know how easy it is to be my own worst critic. And I think that can come out more at the beginning of the year for people in general because we're focusing so much of our energy on changing things about our life that we're maybe not the happiest with. So this challenge is an opportunity to show yourself some appreciation for yourself just as you are today, which is pretty great. I love that I've been doing this challenge for a few years now because each time I do it, I feel like I get something new out of it, and I'm curious to see what that will be this year. When I asked you guys on Instagram what you wanted to see in this month's spreads, one of the things that kept coming up was a self-care list in the same style as the holiday advent calendar I do every December. So I ended up writing down a list of 28 self-care activities, one for each day in February on a piece of white paper. As a creator, one of my favorite forms of self-care is getting lost in the act of bringing content to life through videos, social media posts, and especially writing blog posts. I started my online journey with the blog back in 2012, so it's been been very therapeutic to integrate more writing into my life this past year, and Squarespace has made sharing my blog posts easier than ever. They offer a variety of ready-to-use templates that look beautiful and are super simple to customize to create a unique look. I am far from being a graphic designer, so I love that I'm able to design my site the way that I want it to look in seconds by adding sections to promote new videos, collect newsletter signups, and even display my latest Instagram content. So whether you want to start writing about your own life story, share your portfolio, or sell your own products, you can take comfort in knowing that launching a website doesn't have to be intimidating. Be sure to check out squarespace.com today for a free trial and use the URL linked below, squarespace.com/Caitlin's Corner, to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. For your convenience, I ended up designing a PDF that lists all of these 28 self-care activities and a template for the 28 Days of Self-Love Challenge that you can fill in directly on your computer. It'll be linked below in the coordinating blog post with this video that has photos of all of today's spreads. I also added a definition for self-love on the left page that defines it as a regard for one's own well-being and happiness, chiefly considered as a desirable rather than narcissistic characteristic. Honestly, couldn't describe that better myself. Spreads, I got the chance to give my first try of the Archer and Olive acrylograph markers that I've been wanting to try for a while now. My first impression upon using this purple one is how much I love the color payoff. You'll notice as I fill in this bubble cursive heading for February that there aren't any streak marks like there were when I was using the Tombows and the Super Tips. It's a bit of a cleaner look, although it is a bit more time consuming to use for larger areas. But all in all though, even though I told myself I'm on a stationary buying ban, I may have to make an exception at some point in the upcoming months and get a full-size pack of these because they're unlike anything I currently have in my collection. These two pages are really a spot for me to record a lot of February memories. Starting with my birthday, I drew out an Aquarius installation and then created a section next to it to write down an intent for my 24th year of humaning. It's not necessarily meant to be a goal, but a theme I want to keep at top of mind for the year. It was at that point that I realized I wanted to outline February with a black micron to help it stand out a bit, and I used a white Jelly Roll pen to then add in some highlights on a few of the letters for that extra pop. I also brought back the color globs around the page title to help bring some cohesion to the spreads as a whole and bring in more of that color. Since I'm doing a daily log for self-love, I opted to make a top 3 gratitude section to record 3 things at the end of February that I felt most thankful for during the month. Expressing gratitude is such a beautiful form of self-care for me because it challenges you to look at situations from a different perspective. Instinct can often lead me to react negatively to something without ever giving myself an opportunity to assess whether a situation is even worth being upset over, and practicing gratitude just helps train your brain to recognize that things worth appreciating instead, or at least make an attempt to. So when I feel myself going into those sucky headspaces, I try to ask myself, how can I look at this situation differently? Last month, I read 10% Happier by Dan Harris. So in February, I plan to tackle Your Erroneous Zones by Wayne Dyer. It's an older self-help book, but I've already read the first chapter and am hooked by the way Wayne explains things. He's been an author I've been seeing on my mom's bookshelf for years, and I was pleasantly surprised by how easy his writing is to digest. I'm planning to share more of my thoughts on the books I read on Instagram, so be sure to follow me there and on Goodreads. I also drew out a small section to record the rating, the 5-star rating that I give the book once I finished, and a little spot to write down quick thoughts. On the final quarter of the page, I designed a tracker for intentional breathing, i.e. taking a moment during the day to take some deep breaths. The importance of the breath has been such a reoccurring message popping into my life over the last month, and I want to be making more of a point to take a few moments every day to pause whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed or stressed and just reset. Time for for the weekly tracker. Again, like the first spread in this Plan With Me, I took an old photo off of my vision door and pasted it into my journal. I was drawn to this image because the purple matched the color of the Archer and Olive acrylograph pen nicely, so it felt like a fitting choice for this layout. Since the image does have city buildings, I figured it'd be fun to play around with some cloud doodles. Again, this was a really fun doodle to fill in because of how much it reminded me of drawing clouds in school on the margins of my notebooks. Plus, they're a pretty simple doodle to draw, so that was a nice bonus as well. Brought back my Muji pen to write out the headings for each day of the week under each cloud, and figured it'd be cute to add in some star doodles to the top of the page as well because it fit in with that sunset sky cloud vibe. I added in a mini habit tracker grid for tracking things like hydration, meditation, yoga, and reading, although in hindsight I'm gonna swap out that meditation tracker because I've got the breathing tracker on the previous page, which is kind of similar, and then below that I added a spot to write down whatever book I'm currently reading and the rating I end up giving it once I completed it. To make the building image have a bit more pizzazz, I cut up some gold washi tape from Scotch into really tiny rectangles and taped them into random spots on the buildings because the gold kind of reminded me of the look of a skyline at night when you see lights turned on in buildings. I think it made a huge difference to the image and felt like the final touch that really brought this spread together. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Do not forget to click the link in the description box for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I want to keep the self-care vibes going in the comment section, so be sure to let me know what is your favorite method of self-care. I'd also love to hear how your self-love journey goes this month if you decide to also join me in challenging ourselves to write something down every day that we love about ourselves. So hit me up on Instagram at Caitlin Marie De Silva, send me a DM. I'll also be updating you guys throughout the month on stories with how my journey is going. Like this video if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss future Plan With Me videos, and I will see you all very soon with a new video.
Nobody told me to settle down. Day nights and late nights don't get around, but there's something about you, something about you I like, about you I like. You're crazy.